American soldiers and veterans are fed up with Donald Trump, and now even active duty troops are quietly warning that something is seriously wrong inside the military. After picking a public fight with our veterans, Trump has escalated to threatening to use the US military against his political enemies, and while that alone is explosive, what's happening behind the scenes is even more shocking. So stick around, because the fight between Trump and America's service members is reaching a breaking point, and as always, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. So as we know, Donald Trump has been freaking out this week about a group of Democrats calling on members of the military to disobey illegal orders. And while normally telling people not to do something illegal wouldn't be a big deal, this message has caused chaos in the Trump administration. The video, released last week, featured prominent Democratic veterans calling on our active soldiers.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military,
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
This video, telling the military not to obey illegal orders, made Donald Trump so mad that he went on Truth Social and said that the Democrats in the clip deserved the death penalty. And while this story really blew up over the weekend, Donald Trump is now pushing forward by trying to actually bring legal action against the Democrats in this video. And more specifically, one Democrat, Mark Kelly. Kelly is a senator from Arizona and is a military retiree. And as punishment for filming this social media campaign, Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are trying to launch an investigation into Kelly for some incredibly trumped-up charges. Now, the military has the power to recall Kelly into service and then court-martial him with a military trial. And according to a tweet from Pete Hegseth and the Department of Defense, Mark Kelly violated military laws that prohibit actions intended to interfere with the loyalty, morale, or good order of discipline of the armed forces, and that any violations will be addressed through appropriate legal channels. But in their own article on this possible investigation, NBC points out that the laws that the Trump administration wants to investigate Kelly under are basically a catch-all. And this indicates that they are for punishing service members who cause problems, not for people who just make the president angry. But regardless of what small rule Trump wants to punish Senator Kelly for breaking, the punishments could be very severe. According to NBC, they could range from stripping Kelly of his military ranks to even throwing him in jail. You heard that right. If Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth go through with this court-martial of Mark Kelly, they could throw him in jail just for making a video that Donald Trump didn't like. But even with these threats, Kelly isn't backing down. In an appearance on Rachel Maddow's show this week, Senator Kelly called out Trump for being the real cause of violent political rhetoric and saying that as a combat veteran, he has seen more things a lot more frightening than Donald Trump's threats.
I hear you when you say that it is absurd and that it is almost comical, but also that it is intended to be intimidating. I do just have to ask you at a human level, Senator, you and your family have dealt with more than your fair share of sacrifice for this country and trial and tribulation. I just have to ask, even though I hear you when you say you're not intimidated, this must be a source of stress for you and your family. I just have to ask the kind of impact that it's having on you and your loved ones.
Rachel, I've had a missile blow up next to my airplane. I've been shot down, nearly shot down multiple times. I've flown a rocket ship into space 4 times, built by the lowest bidder. And my wife, Gabby Giffords, meeting with her constituents, shot in the head, 6 people killed around her. A horrific thing. She spent 6 months in the hospital. We know what political violence is, and we know what causes it, too. You know, the statements that Donald Trump made is insightful, incites others. He's got millions of supporters. People listen to what he says more so than anybody else in the country. And he should be careful with his words. But I'm not going to be silenced here. Is it stressful? I've been stressed by, things more important than Donald Trump trying to intimidate me into shutting my mouth and not doing my job. He didn't like what I said. I'm going to show up for work every day, support the Constitution, do my job, hold this administration accountable, hold this president accountable when he is out of line. That's the responsibility of every U.S. senator and every member of Congress. He's not going to silence us.
Mark Kelly and the other Democrats in this feud with Trump immediately fired back at the president's threats of court-martialing. The military trial process is meant to punish actual crimes in the armed forces, not attack people on behalf of the president. And because of Trump's threats to hijack the court-martial process, veterans around the United States are pointing out the serious danger of this move, with one first lieutenant veteran activist named Paul Rieckhoff saying that Trump's threats to Senator Kelly are actually a threat against all 2 million military veterans in the United States today.
With us now, Paul Rieckhoff, founder and president of Independent Veterans of America. Paul, great to see you.
Good to see you.
What message do you think this sends to threaten to recall Senator Kelly for a court-martial?
I think it's exactly what Trump said. He wants to set an example. And Senator Kelly is a noted veteran. He's respected by people from all parties. He's an astronaut. He's a combat Navy aviator. And I think what Trump wants to say is if I can come after him, I can come after anyone. He's made it pretty clear he wants to come after his political enemies. He wants to intimidate people. I think it's important to remember there are 2 million military retirees in America. So he can come after this guy for his political speech or for something he doesn't agree with. I think he's trying to send a very effective and chilling message, not to senators, but to average people all across the country. And that's why this is so dangerous, so outrageous, so ridiculous, because it's about much more than just these 6 members. This is about free speech in America for 2 million military retirees.
Well, so how does that sit with you then? How does it land with you as a retiree?
It's terrible. It's absolutely egregiously bad, dangerous, crazy would be an understatement, because this is creeping across the line into authoritarianism. This is crossing the Rubicon. This is going to a space we've never gone before. The idea you can drag him back onto active duty and threaten court-martial, which I don't think he has any grounds to do, but the fact that he's threatening to do it is breaking glass that's never been broken before in the modern military, and it's very, very dangerous, and all Americans, no matter what your political background is, should be outraged.
Paul Rieckhoff runs an advocacy and political support group for veterans of the United States military. He and the rest of our veterans across the country have every right to be worried about Donald Trump trying to weaponize the United States military. And while it might be starting with something small like court-martialing, it could soon become much worse. You see, Mark Kelly and the other veteran Democrats didn't just make their social media campaign to make Trump mad. They were actually reaching out about a major problem in the military that is getting much worse every single day. Over the past few months, the number of active duty military personnel seeking legal counsel has absolutely skyrocketed. Because of the way that Donald Trump is now using the military, such as occupying US cities or blowing up boats in the Caribbean, many of our armed forces are worried that they are being forced to violate US laws. And it's not just if they're worrying about if they're violating laws right now, it's also if they're going to be forced to violate these laws in the future.
Calls to organizations like the Orders Project, which provides free legal advice to military personnel, are on the rise from staff officers involved in planning the boat strikes. As are calls to a separate hotline from National Guard personnel concerned about domestic deployments to American cities. And even calls expressing concerns of complicity in a possible genocide in Gaza by virtue of U.S. weapons sent to Israel, signaling heightened concern from within the U.S. government that the U.S. military is exposing those who serve to legal harm.
For perspective on all this, we turn to retired Lieutenant Colonel Frank Rosenblatt. He was an Army lawyer and is now the president of the National Institute of Military Justice, which runs the Orders Project. Colonel, welcome to the NewsHour. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So the Orders Project, for anyone unfamiliar, was started 5 years ago as a place military personnel can get legal advice that's independent from the Defense Department. Tell me about the calls you've been receiving specific to those U.S. military strikes on boats. How many calls and what are people asking?
Thanks. The phone has been picking up a bit, our activity in the past 3 months, and some of these have related to the new military activities out in the Caribbean. We are primarily getting calls, a lot of people who are tangentially involved. They aren't the people who are actually on the operations or are approving them. But many of these are, they're performing some sort of role in between, a staff officer who's asked to apply their expertise. And they've been reaching out to us when they've been concerned that the answer that they're giving has been very disfavored, and they're feeling pressure from their higher ups to convert their answer into something that is a little to change a concur from a non-concur to a concur.
Since this summer, people in the military have been making more and more calls asking for legal advice about the orders that the Trump administration is giving them. And even worse than that, some of the military are even suggesting that they are being pressured to support the positions of the administration even if it goes against their normal operations or advice. This is a huge canary in the coal mines for US democracy. At what point in the past has the president been at such odds with everyday soldiers that they are scared of having to find a lawyer? And at what point will Trump go from testing the limits of the law to ordering the military to break it? With Trump's threats to court-martial his political enemies, it is clear that he wants the military to answer solely to him, not the Constitution. But the fact that our soldiers are already getting wary of his plans, to me at least, shows that they might keep following them forever. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is Donald Trump going to take even more control over the military, or is he going to start losing its support in droves? And as always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more.